In the name of God, the most benevolent and the most merciful, in the presence of the original unconditional moment that all conditional moments have arisen from and will return to, in honor of the system admin of this existential simulated system we're experiencing, and in honor of the world host beyond the world room. It is obvious we have never been alone. I want to begin by saying that today's lecture is an interesting one. I can feel the weight of it. Before deciding to choose the title Activating the Hidden Life of the Species, two important, areas of reality had come to my attention. One was the notion that ideas outlive us, subjective selves can outlive objective selves. Excuse me. Pretty much my attention goes to the silent constructs of reality, or how language constructs reality in the silence. Good morning, guys. Welcome. All right. I got to go through it. I'm going to tell you how to activate the hidden life of the species. Life is like a game. In games, there's known and unknown variables, and then there's positioning. In this game of life, we find ourselves in a position. We study this position. In our studies of what we are, we discover all conceptual constructs are given meaning through the context. In other words, positioning in regards to your outer life and inner life are both key elements to advancing in this human game. So you have to wonder about your position in front of your eyes in a public outer realm server, physical server, existential objective server, and behind your eyes you have to wonder through your inner realms, which is your own private. It's a private, experiential, subjective server. So we're thinking about how to play this game of life. I'm saying it's about positioning. And the human species, whatever way it's happening, that's how it's playing the game right now. That means there is no not playing the game. Even if you think you're not playing the game, you're just playing in a different way. So far, the human species has responsibility for outer structure. That's what we notice. Just the program that you go through being born on this planet, and especially, in this modern age, the way we're conditioned is our subjective self. First, your physical body is real to you. Then the physical world is real to you. Then the subjective representation of yourself, the subjective simultaneous acknowledgement of yourself is there. What does that mean? That means we are trained, just like they train dolphins, just like they train animals. The human species is how a bunch of animals with higher intelligence are training each other. That's really what has been going on. Every experience is training for consciousness. So you have this inner realm, outer realm, life is a game. You need to wonder about the positions. So in other words, there's objective positions to wonder about, and then there is subjective positions, or there's outer views and inner views. And I was saying that the responsibility for the outer realm, most people have this. You see, you should think of life as if everything is, I shouldn't say everything is a game, but everything's like every instance of an activity is like a game. And throughout the game, not only different decisions can be made, different intensities can be there. So people, they are responsible for their outer self. Growing up on this planet, you have learned to be responsible for your physical self, for your outer self. And then, what is expected of the human being is to become responsible beyond itself and to become responsible for others. And then if you're a really great human being, become responsible for, let's say first it's you, then it's your family, then it's your community, then it's your nation, and then this is where we are currently in 2026, where you start identifying with your species. You start becoming responsible not for the conduct of one human being that is you, but you become responsible for the conduct of your whole species. That means it starts becoming important. Do you know that so many people talk about love being mystical, but do you want me to tell you what love really is? Love happens when something becomes real for someone. It is a testament to the intensity of reality. Do you know that means, I noticed something fascinating. If you give a human being an option between good and bad, It's gonna struggle. It's gonna need some time to choose. But if you give the person an option between original simulated, original option is most almost all the time instantaneously chosen. That means we are a type of intelligence that has discovered itself through a simulated condition. We think we're living individual lives. Simultaneously, the species is living a life. Simultaneously, the world is living a life. Simultaneously, the life beyond the world is aware of all life. It's a very fascinating situation. I am telling you, you know, that this is the hardest thing for secular people to really accept. It's like, oh, atheist. Oh, any person who has sought proof. Where are you? In other words, the idea of you that accepts whether the proof is true or not is fictional. Pretty much fiction is verifying non-fiction through a different kind of fiction. The fictional notion, abstract notion of self, uses the fictional abstract notion of language to verify if the non-fiction is non-fiction. There is a scene in Lord of the Rings that if people ask me what is my favorite scene in the movie Lord of the Rings, all three films, you're gonna you're not gonna believe what it is. It's such a simple, mundane scene, but it is the greatest scene in the whole show for me. In the third film, the riders of Rohan come to kind of like help, humanity not get defeated by, like, I don't know, mutated underground minions or something. And there's this king. The actor was amazing. There's this king, which his name is Theoden. Okay, and Gandalf awakens him from this realm of deceived, from his deceived slumber, and so his kingly presence. Theoden is a king. Okay, and there's a scene, he even looks at Gandalf and he says, like, what father should bury his son? There's a scene in the third film where, aside from like Theoden's speech being epic, there's a scene where the riders of Rohan go and defeat those orcs or whatever. Do you know that are attacking the Uruk-hai, or these beings that are attacking, what's that place called? Man, I haven't seen it in a while. Gondor? No. Anyways, this kind of kingdom that's connected to like like built on a mountain, and they defeat like the army of orcs that had invaded the city, the kingdom. And then there's this epic scene. This is my favorite scene in the film, where Theoden King, just like they defeat the first army, he looks back. He looks back and simply sees, sorry guys, my attention went outside of the car. He looks back and simply sees these giant, like mammoths, like heading towards him, and he in his like his facial expression was legit like what the fuck, like and he just suddenly grabs the horn, right, and he assembles the riders and marches against all odds towards that opposing force. That seemed to me the reassembly out of the realization that what you thought was the end of the war was just one battle. Similarly, I think that sort of vibe of winning a battle and realizing how much of the war is left, winning a battle, realizing, oh my God, the war is left. The whole point of it is, I guess, the I guess certainty or confidence of the spirit of man. That means in the same moment that I'm being a human being and being a specific character in a story, I am also being a presence of the raw energy of the realm. If somebody's like spiritual new age person comes up to me and says, hey man, have you had any spiritual experiences? I'll be like, yeah man, the biggest one was realizing this isn't the original world. And people, like, if people wanted to be really rude, they'd look at me and tell me, okay, if you believe this is a simulation, why don't you just go get rid of yourself? you know and the answer is, in some sense, when you find yourself in a system that is more unknown than known, you are not the master of that reality. And at some point of wisdom, you release everything you know about anything back into the unknown. Every idea and looping thought that you've thought this whole time has possessed you, the wrong views have possessed. No, 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 no. You have possessed them. You know, there is this notion that there is like in Islamic theology and just in what's funny about being living on Earth, and how artificial modernity feels, because the more you go back in history, the more dimensions they saw to reality. The more we've gone forward in history, we've limited the dimensions to the verification of one of these dimensions. It's sad. I am telling you that this world started from the unknown, but it doesn't mean the unknown wasn't aware. It's a matter of intelligence. I'll give you an example. Based on the dimensions I see, I strategize. So I see a dimension where I am an object. I see a dimension where I am a significant subject, and I see there's a significance to the subject, and I see a moment where I'm because I'm old school, I use the word soul, but it is pretty much the awareness of my whole moment before anything in the moment can define it. The world I'm living for and trying to build, the kind of advanced civilization I envision, Himalayan yogis who went into the caves and have been in samadhi states for years, they're going to wake up with this enlightenment, and then they're going to see everybody in the outer realms way superior enlightened. And they're going to be like, what was I doing sitting in a cave? And that's my point. The whole thing is, we are trying to manage as a noun, as a known noun, what is actually an unknown verb. And I am telling you, you know how human psychology is limited to this view of like weak, strong, beta, alpha, right? That this mentality, even you see it in evolutionary psychology. There's human beings who are like, yo, man, I'm an alpha male on Earth. They say this. Put them in a cage with a lion, and in some sense, see how beta they become instantly. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying, what I'm or put him in a cage with two lions or three lions. Do you know what I mean? Like at some point, the person's going to realize that the wilderness and savageness of the world, natural world, was so chaotic that we all had to be alpha to survive in in nature's food chain. Do you understand? They're like, yo, man, how did your species survive? It's like step one, don't be food, find food. Do you know what I mean? Like right now, people wake up, they go to the grocery store, do you know? They do their grocery shopping, they come home, cook and eat. Do you know what I mean? But back then, you had to, while going and trying to gather supplies, also make sure you don't become another entity's supply. But now something strange has happened. After we stepped out of the food chain, most people thought that there was nothing superior to human beings that could control humans. Little did we know that the geometry of the realm is providing the space to move. That means some people are going to be like, yo, man, just have a kind heart, you know, and in some sense, just be a good person and you'll be all right in this world. And I'll be like, excuse me, I'm not saying don't be a good person, but it's a design issue. Legit, we need, you know, 8.1 billion souls, like advanced designers, looking at this whole system and sitting at this designer's table of a conscious realm, collective realm, and be like, okay, what are we doing here with all these forms? How do we manage and govern? And what would the most advanced human species, how would they manage themselves? Is, you know, we surpass the limited thinking of only me or only a self-obsession of being. That means it is okay to get mad, angry at worlds that in some sense were distractions. You know, anger towards a distraction is justified usually. Do you know? Ask yourself what has fascinated you. Like, let's say right now, even you might be the most depressed and stressed person. Sorry guys, had to relocate. Back to it. I was simply saying I don't know if you guys can hear the music in the background, but to simplify, activating the hidden life of your species is like reminding every conscious moment in the universal sector where it is. Before identity, there needs to be a process that if it completes, usually through patience it does, then it's easier to be an ego. Think of it this way. Even the way we're being people in 2026, the way we're being people is wrong, is the way we're using it is wrong. When we wonder about the hidden life of a species, well, before that, we need to wonder about the hidden life of a person. When we wonder about the hidden life of a person, it is the force that is viewing reality and then engaging it. And the engagement to reality is effort. And effort is how something has been so clearly modeled and perceived in the inner realms that in the outer realms it happens. You know, somebody may hear like somebody else speak, like and think that, okay, this person is going from 1 to 2 to 3, going from A to B to C to D, but that is not the case. I am simply aware that life is the presence of an unknown field observing itself through a manifest node. The greatness of the human legacy surpasses any story humans have ever told. You know how they say like somebody's larger than life, maybe a pointer to the ego? Let me tell you, you will realize everything is so large existentially, and experientially, consciously, it's small and specific. To me, more than identifying as the body, it's just an access point. Just like a character in a video game. You can customize the character. Like, just look at it. Human beings are drawn to playing massive multiplayer online simulated video games. And the reason they do that is because in the video game, they can have free will. They have more access to free will. And at the same time, they have more of an extension of their free will. Beyond the hidden life, or excuse me, beyond the unhidden life. That means right now we're accessing reality. I'm a member of the human species existing on Earth. But what is Earth? It's what we call a massive unknown intelligent event. And because it's instantaneously present, we can't explain it using another, like more than one reference point. It's like how many days or how many times do you need to log in and out of this like this human video game to realize that that which we control we are usually beyond. If you look at it that way, that's how it happens. You can control things that you are beyond, not equal to, not even above, but true control is that which comes from an awareness that is beyond. So it's control is an idea for beings that want to have a relationship with lower realities. Do you know? But when you want to, as a being, have a relationship with higher realities and are fascinated by the higher order process and realize that really what it's about is a species told itself a story, it took it too seriously, and now it's waking up and maturing beyond the need for a constant subjective justification of every objective moment. It's like, how many known simulated selves do you need to experience until you realize in the most simplest states of life, the unknown is instantaneously being. It's an instance of intelligent being in an unknown moment. That means if my whole life I thought like I've been a specific person, it's like accessing this view that you're like, oh my God, every day of my life, if I had just realized everything is starting from the unknown again. We, just like how our eyelids close to keep our eyes moist, like we blink, a lot throughout the day. Similarly, consciousness is blinking. Consciousness is like the sight, and deep sleep is like suddenly, oh my God, the world blinked. It's like I didn't just blink, the world blinked. It's like I was asleep for 8 hours. They're like, Mr. Within, what kind of music do you listen to? Like opera singers singing opera as they're being like sucked into a black hole. They're being pulled into a black hole, and the opera singer, like that sound effect, like that sound quality. No, guys, I love science fiction. I realize there's nothing more fascinating than the future potential of everything that is present now. I feel like I need to hear some really deep music right now. Okay, this is fine. Let's work with this. The audience might not hear it because of like maybe volume misadjustment, but I don't know. Like there's background music to this right now. Anyways, what can a human being in 2026 say about activating the hidden life of your species? First of all, it is a responsibility out of honor for the circumstance. That means you have access to a way of thinking that is only your meaning, how you give meaning to everything. And then there's the realization of the countless other viewpoints a person can have on reality. You just realize it's not only changing, it's not only massively unobservable, it's as if every story, every idea that has entered a human being's mind has really been there to serve them. For me, I'm like, okay, I went down the checklist of wondering about the problems an individual can have. Now, when I ask myself, what is the divine clue of what is the grand purpose to all of this, I realize it's what I see in the mirror, which is a member of the human species, and it is why we're all in the outer realms in the same game. Like we're all in the same place, and we have different DNAs and different circumstances and memory trails and just journeys through the space-time continuum. And every person is like, it's so poetic. It's like, you know what being a human being is like a private world began, a private event took place in a public place, and only if that human being cared to share, cared to advance communication, would they know that there was somebody there. That means how many hidden lives have been lived, never acknowledged by anything. To care for the depths of this world, that means they're like, okay, why do we want to activate the hidden life of the species? How do we know what the hidden life of the species is? Or what would the most advanced hidden life of the species be? Guys, you don't understand. Before I realized this realm as a system admin, it has a higher order process, and I truly understood that everything in life is explained when you think of it as a simulation. When you think of it as a simulation, it's like we've been conditioned to treat everything as if it's real, and how we know it is the way it is. But all that this world has proved is that there's more unknown than known. Everything is a game based on its utility. So if the hidden life of the species, like the hidden life of the species simultaneously means activating the hidden life of every member of the species. You see, being born as a human being, it's funny, you didn't have a choice about your DNA, but you didn't have a choice either in what class, species class you're born. And we as human beings constantly give meaning in the present based on the past, right? Everything's like based on the past. We look at a person and we're like, is this person, what value does this person have? And we're like, what did he do in his past? We never base things based on present to future. It is only like, I guess, compassionate people who give freedom first and then instruction, you know? There's currently 8.1 billion human beings. I see these 8.1 billion human beings, each of them as an unknown life force. Energies doing stuff that I don't understand, and that's what we call the world. You know? So there's 8.1 unknown life forces that are moving and technically unknown life forms in a known way, and that known way is a dimensional gap control between us and a lower dimension. Think of it this way: it's not just you have a relationship with your past, or you have a relationship with your future as a being conscious in the present. You also have a relationship with the depths of the value of reality. That means there is higher and lower in the same moment that there is past and future. And what does that mean? That means from where you're looking at something, it appears differently. Similarly, how you subjectify yourself appears differently through a different, let's say, presence of awareness. So think of it this way: in order to fit into the story of the world, the child is conditioned to be its own guard. Okay? That means they're like, okay, what's the first guardian angel of the being? Yeah, the being's free will, yo. That's like a guard yourself, you know? So there's the free will. Man, how do I explain it? I'm trying to say, like, guys, it's not just human beings here. To be a human being is a certain state of consciousness. That's it. It's just a certain state. It's a position. That means we're in a massively unknown world. It even has depths to it. That means not only is the surface of the ocean of manifestation endless, it has depths that are endless. In other words, the hidden life is the version of you prior to an effort to a specific you. At its core, it's an energetic expression. But if you think of it this way: you're the presence of an unknown moment. You're the presence of a moment of you're like this sphere of awareness in an unknown moment, and you're using what is inside the sphere because you're identifying as something in this sphere, right? Um, you're just using like, think of it this way: your processing power of what happens to you, let's say, is limited to how the quality of how you've processed your past up to this point. What processing the past means is that we're after, like, what did urbanization, what did the urban age bring? It brought forth the information age. The industrial era evolved into the information era. Right now, the most powerful people is not somebody who's just physically powerful. It's somebody who has access to the accurate information, to the original view. In other words, a bunch of simulated beings seeking the original moment that everything is present from. In other words, if somebody asks me, what does it mean that you are a soul? It means that I have been commanded by an original unconditional being to exist. It's a command from the source. It's source code. Everything is that's what the information age brings. That's what the linguistic simulation brings. This is why do you think I'm telling you, like in so many talks I've said, I have a love and hate relationship with language. When people think they are language, I hate it. When people realize it's a tool, that means forget the concept of thinking. You're a being that has access to outer forms that you didn't create, and behind your eyes you can remodel the objective form. It's as if existence is there to inspire experience, and the unknown is there so the individual experiencer can have purpose. But truly, what the unknown means, that means I'm an unknownist. That means at my core, I was like, okay, what principle do I value the most? And it's honesty. I got to be honest with my like being to access the original data of my being, right? And that honesty brought me to the realization that if we are all acting like we know what's going on in a knowable place, in a known place, to activate the hidden life of the species is to activate all those states that are pretty much ultra instinct. What that means is we find that before we were a known, specific, defined phenomena, we are the presence of how this whole unknown system is happening. In other words, it's we think that, oh my God, I just got a thought. Like that's the language they use to explain it. But that's not the case. It's not that you got a thought. You are simultaneously the presence of how everything is happening, but simultaneously realizing everything happening means there's a conditional change, and conditional change is the effect of an unconditional original state. That means there will come a day where you will see spiritual people as just beings who've noticed they're in a simulation and they're seeking the original, they're seeking a way out. But religious people have understood that the way out is not that your free will does it alone. It is that you realize you're in a world that is alive beyond any human construct. In other words, the same moment I'm living a life is the same moment the whole unknown phenomena. It's like the same moment there's a force that's moving me to communicate right now. There's in that same moment at the whole world there's a force moving it. And it's been to the unconditional being, it's all happened. So where thoughts come from is the divine field, but man is a cognitive entity. So the middle ground is the divine cognitive fields, which I gave a lecture on. Go check that out. Anyways, guys, I don't know what else to say. In my view, like how do you activate a hidden life? It's pretty much wondering about what is that hidden life. Realizing the hidden life is how the whole experience of the moment cannot just be limited and filtered to one element. The whole system can't be limited to one element inside the system's interpretation. In other words, life is not about processing even information and thinking it's accurate. It's about being alive. And let me finish the statement: being alive in the presence of all of it. It's a symphony of living. And it's being conducted beyond the human idea. We're within legit a divine surveillance state. The body is simulated. Your subjective sense of self is simulated based on your emotions, circumstance changing, all of that. Whatever belief or idea man has on reality or tries to capture the whole world's moment, through. To me, I'm like, why do we have minds that can envision advanced probabilities to the moment? We're living ahead. The psychological experience of reality is much faster, but more, it goes through more resets and simulations. That means like a person lives a day, but throughout that day, they could have had so many perspectives that it's as if they lived so many lives in one day of life. And of course, every person is a unique DNA, It is in our fascination for the unknown that we're being united. To be responsible for not just the known self, but for the unknown self, and being responsible not just for the known self of the species, but the unknown self of the species. Anyways, thank you for listening. You access, think of it this way, because I thought of how to build an advanced civilization, like that's a hobby of mine. When I think about how to build an advanced civilization, the first point that comes to my attention is, okay, we need the most advanced power from the beginning. Only the advanced can build an advanced civilization. So then I was like, okay, before I can build a civilization, I need to go figure out what is the most advanced power that will be the power source to this civilization. And when I say power, I'm not just talking about clean energy. I'm talking about the power of all dimensions. It's like I'm talking about power in the cosmos sense, not just limited to cosmos means everything. Universe just means a specific everything. Rise, mankind, rise. The original power is the system admin's will. In the pursuit of individual greatness, you realize greatness is not localized. In my view, in the outer life, you have to provide the vision. And the vision is, they're like, why should we build an advanced civilization? And I'm like, why not? Why not wonder about the most advanced state to all of this? And it means from the beginning, the power that builds the most advanced is advanced. In other words, the energy that is moving is advanced. It's just that in this realm, the man's free will to it, only in his inner realms he feels that freedom. In the outer realms, man's free will is dependent on like a chess game between I make a move and the world makes a move. I make a move and the world makes a move. You know? Anyways, thank you for listening. And through greater vision, new lives are discovered. What else can we say? In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, and the most advanced, in honor of the original moment that all simulated moments return to, have arisen from and will return to. We are not just creations of the most advanced power. We are also the will, in the presence in the will of the most advanced power. To be a human being is like realizing, okay, it's like I'm inside a greater physical object as a physical being. And now I have to ask myself, beyond the physicality, is there an actual presence there? Fascination should never be avoided. Anyways, thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. And get on Discord, everybody, because, or the source. So get on Discord and just like put your actual first name and just maybe the letter of your last name as your user. If you can, I don't know. Or actually, whatever. Imagine every person comes in and they have a barcode of a name. I'll be like, what kind of user? Anyways. Just like the wings of a bird that need to be synchronized for flight, we need to synchronize the inner meaning with the outer forms. And if we are conscious of advanced views, we cannot avoid them. It's like, yo, man, flying cars don't exist, but why can I imagine them? Why have there been movies that have shown it? Anyways, have a great day. Thank you for listening.